Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Hey, did anybody see the Democratic convention last night? Can anybody tell me what they thought about the speeches and specifically about Brother Biden's speech? I mean, start throwing those messages into that in the Facebook message place, or give me a call. Let me put the telephone number on the screen. The telephone number, of course, is 346-248-7799. Again, that is 346-248-7799. The code is 254-600-9091. Again, the code is 254-600-9091. What did you guys think about the convention? I thought, I'll be frank, the last day, I thought it was going to be boring because, well, it was Brother Biden that was going to be on. And I figured that after having Michelle Obama and after having Barack Obama and after having all those other great speakers that were out there, that somehow he was not going to be able to shine. But I'm going to tell you something. I am generally a bit critical, and I actually I thought his speech did pretty well. What's your thoughts on that? Let me hear what you have to think, what you have to say about that as we cue all our programs up here before we get started. If you're just joining us, folks, please, por favor, please go ahead and share the program right now on your page, on your wall, on your page, on your Twitter, on your Tumblr, on your Instagram, everywhere, so that we would get maximal viewership. Ultimately, I mean, a lot of it, even if you just share it now, it comes a little bit later. It doesn't matter, because what we need right now, folks, is to get the message out. What again do we need to get the message out? And what are we going to do? We're going to get the message out. Why are we going to get the message out? Because we are going to change this country altogether. So let's go ahead and get busy and start talking about what we are going to talk about. There you go. That's all queued up now. All right. The title of the show today is, and it's coming up, the title of the show today is Trump is Losing It. Activating the vote, DNC review. It looks like Trump is losing it, folks. Delilah Agho-Otoghile discusses the young vote and more. We talk about the DNC and its aftermath. So, okay, so let's see. Brige liked it. I liked it too, Brige. Okay, and let's continue here. Let's see. I hope you guys don't mind me putting this request out here. I'm trying to find a set of PowerPoint templates for computer programming classes which reflects a diverse student body. Anyone know of such an animal? So let me repeat that, what Rose is saying. I hope you guys don't, well, I don't have to say that. I'm trying to find a set of PowerPoint templates for computer programming classes which reflect a diverse student body. Anyone know of such an animal? I am sure a lot of our people would be right here to help you find that. And we have El Señor Rudnin in here. So hook up with Michael Rudnin. He can find anything on the internet because he's that good at finding things that fast. So Michael, help out our sister Rose William for that if you get a chance to sometime today, my dear brother. Okay, continuing. Donald Trump is losing it. Recently, he pretty much endorsed QAnon and its implication, or by implication. Recently in Pennsylvania, he gave a speech that was of the type we used to hear from Sarah Palin. Think about that, Sarah Palin. I listened to these two things and I'm like, are we talking about Sarah Palin? I can see Russia from my house. And what about this? Mitt Romney may have had a slip of the tongue at the post office senatorial hearings. Is he now un demócrata? Who knows? Man, Mitt Romney, you're getting me concerned, Romney. Let me put these slides that I'm putting out here in order, because given my current state, I could be like, oh, did I say that right? And it looks like we already have a call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the call first before I get into the program. I hope you guys don't mind. But, this show belongs to who again? This show belongs to you guys. Again, if you're just joining us, please go ahead and give us a call. Okay, let's go to the caller. Caller, you're on. Come on in.
Hello, Alberto. ¿Cómo está, hermano? It's Dimitri from Florida.
Estoy bien. Háblame, Dimitri. ¿Cómo va todo? Talk to me.
Todo bien. Yeah, I saw the convention last night, and I think uh, it was a success for Biden. I mean, there was no major um, mistakes on his part.
Right.
It was a nice speech. Uh, I just come from, in my opinion, sir, uh, he's running without any promises, without any, uh, all I hear is platitudes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think to have Bloomberg on there to speak was a huge mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the things that he was saying about Trump that, he defaults on paying people and whatnot is exactly what Bloomberg did at the end of his presidential run.
It's
You
funny,
know,
isn't it?
it really is. And, to listen to Mayor Pete, to be completely honest, it was very painful. Just a bunch of platitudes and not much substance. But to be fair, Biden, he did get out of there unscathed. But the message, let's restore the soul of America, sounds very similar to let's make America great again.
Which is the intent. Here's a funny thing, Dimitri. This is what I'm really thinking, and you tell me if you agree with this. I think there are a lot of things that Biden did at that place, at that convention, to sort of mimic what Donald Trump did to some extent, so that they can say, if it worked with Donald Trump, it may work with we. So we got the older guy, the bravado guy, the guy that has a whole lot of bravado, but the difference is that it comes across lovingly, right? I love America. Trump says he loves America, but nobody really believes him. He won for some other reasons as well, but I think a lot of them are trying to mimic him. But I tell you one thing, and then then you tell me what you think about this. I just wanted to me it's a win for progressives if we get the top of the ticket going out there and not making centrist promises. And for me, that was a win. Hey, Futsa Boy and CJ Bigodeau. What I mean, Dimitri, is I don't want Biden shoehorning himself or throwing himself in a corner where he made a promise, because I'll be honest with you. What I'm asking progressives to do as soon as Biden is elected is we've got to roll him. We have to come out
Well,
with. Go ahead.
And maybe you're onto something, Alberto, because maybe he's making backdoor promises with Bernie and whatnot, because a big electorate that he's going to need to court to beat Trump this November is he's going to need the youth vote.
Yes,
which he doesn't have at this time, and he's going to need a huge chunk of it. We know that people my age, and older, are more reliable voters, and the ones who are already going to support Biden are already going to do it regardless.
No, you're right. Look, you are absolutely right. We have more callers coming in too, so you can stay on because we can take more. Stay hot. Let me go ahead and bring in. I think we have Arthur Rice. Arthur, come on in. Arthur, you're in. Arthur, I can't hear you.
Hi, what's up?
What's up? Do you want to say something, Arthur?
No, I don't. I just want to hear you guys.
Okay, good. I have you muted then. Let's go ahead and bring in the other person. Renato Oliveira Sanchez, you are hot. Sanchez. Renato Oliveira Sanchez, habla por favor. Go ahead. You can talk, sir. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get Sanchez out of there. Okay, para ver. All right, go ahead and continue, Dimitri. Sanchez evidently is maybe having some issues.
I wanted to, and this isn't about the last night.
Okay, I think we have. Let me remove a few people, and then we'll come back to you. You know how that goes sometimes. All right.
Eu sou do coffee.
It is so funny. Anytime that happens, you have to be like, okay, all right, let's go. Bear with me a second. Let me get rid of some of these folks. All right.
Sorry, guys. It was my brother.
Okay, go ahead now, my friend.
It sounded like someone went to happy hour.
Não me
early today.
remove! Não me remove! Eu sou o do cofre! Não me remove! Eu sou o do cofre! Não me remove!
Okay, great. I think I did it. This is the first time that we got like 20 pranksters at the same time. All right, continue, my friend.
I just wanted to touch base on since I lean toward the
Right.
progressive candidates and views, even though I am an older gentleman. But it really rubbed me wrong to hear Pelosi endorse Joe Kennedy.
Oh my God, the hypocrisy.
Exactly.
You remember all of these the rank and file folks, all of them wanted to say we cannot not endorse an incumbent. You remember that?
Exactly. They blacklisted him, blackballed him from the DCCC if they were going to do that. And you have which Markey is far from perfect, but he leans toward the progressives,
right?
And he does have he helped sponsor and write the bill for the Green Deal, the Green New Deal. And, a lot of things that young people are going to need, as well as all of us, really, as far as humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, Dimitri, let me go. I have to, we have a
Yes, sir.
27-minute thing that I got to do. So I want to take a couple of calls. And look, thank you so kindly, as usual, for calling in. And we'll talk, okay?
All right. Adios.
Adios y muchas gracias, hermano. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get this. Let's see, 832, come on in. 832, you're on. Ending in 4863, you're on. Okay, I'll remove you or put you in the waiting room. Okay, let's go to 713, you're on. 713, you're on. Ending in 4863. 32, come on in. Okay, that one goes as well. 832, you're on.
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
Ending in 4863, you're on.
Hey, Egberto.
Yes.
Egberto, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, go ahead. 713, go ahead.
Hey, Egberto, this is Norman. How you doing?
Hey, Norman, yes, you had something that you wanted to say last night, so bring it on right away, sir.
Right. So basically what I said yesterday was that burning the lifeboats, it's not personal. It's just that we don't have to swallow the self-aggrandizing revisionist history people keep putting out there. So let me just be simple with it. So if someone is saying 1 + 1 is 3, 1 + 1 is 4, 1 + 1 is 5, and they're all in the same camp, and the person who is talking to you says 1 + 1 is 3, but I don't believe in 1 + 1 is 4, 1 + 1 is 5, those guys can go away. I'm labeling myself a 1 + 1 is 3 guy. That's fine. That's still not factual and not true.
Okay.
So they need to be held accountable for those things. So if someone is saying, I hate tweeting, that's the reason why I don't like Donald Trump. But the value system is still about the putting kids in cages, lying on podium all the time and not acknowledging it, then that's not reality for me. I mean,
let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and say something, Norman, because I think I understand where you're going. You're saying that when we're dealing with people, if that person agrees with you on point A and point B, but still disagrees with you in something that you can prove otherwise is very factual, you would like to cross that person out altogether. Did I get that right?
Until, yeah, I'll push him on to later because obviously it is no longer a subject of facts anymore. It's no longer someone who's willing to even listen to facts.
I want to
who's
stop you
saying,
right there because that's my old way of thinking, and let me tell you what I mean by that. Right? I have relatives that are into the church, right? And they pray and they do all these things, and I can show, I think, that prayer may not have any, and this, folks, this all hypothetical stuff. Prayer doesn't have any values, right? It doesn't solve anything. Somebody have cancer, you pray for them, they still have cancer. Somebody have cancer, you don't pray for them, they get cured. I mean, so I'm saying that's a random thing, but do we ever excommunicate that person that have these strong religious belief? We don't.
No, we're not talking about religion, and we're not talking about any sort of thing like that, Egbert. I'm not talking about that. Religion is something that's a belief structure that I'm not willing to go there and talk to somebody about it because it is a personal item.
Right.
It is a personal item. I don't think that facts, when it comes to whether or not Democrats have been better for the economy,
that's a fact,
is debatable. I don't think that's debatable.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's debatable either, sir. But here's what I do think. I do think that there are other people that use other metrics, right? That I don't believe in these other metrics that make it believable to them. And that is what I'm trying to learn to navigate. In other words, you and I are of the same beliefs, brother. We believe the same thing. We have the same ideology, etc. In making my connection to the other side, I want to know what makes one of my sisters a Trumpist and the other one a liberal progressive like me. And both of them excelled in high school. Both of them excelled in college. Please help me there.
So no, I'm not gonna. I would say here in this case, if I'm not trying to change somebody's ideology, I'm not willing to go there. What I'm willing to say is, here are the facts. Show me where I'm wrong.
I agree.
And if you keep repeating back into a loop of a sort of a belief structure in which you just believe it, no facts behind it.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, it is an untenable situation. You can't continue.
And we can look. I agree with you that we can reach there, sir. I agree with you that we can reach there. That we can reach to that point that is untenable, right? I agree with you. This is hard because what I'm trying to do with my new book, right? I don't know if you completely got through it or not. Is to tell people this. I stopped telling people the facts, right? I'm talking to intelligent people. My older sister is intelligent. All these people are intelligent, but they have some structure that allows them to walk away. I just saw walk away and think something else, right? So my way of dealing with this now, and these are all trial things that I've done, and a lot of times that have worked, is navigate them through not me telling them something, but letting them come to the conclusion based on me teasing them in a certain direction. You see do you get what I'm saying, or did I make that plain or not?
You made it plain in that you're trying to make people see something that obviously they're not seeing.
Right.
However, there are times when folks are willfully disingenuous.
We talk about that a lot, yes.
Unwilling to even see it. And even when they see it, they go back to a previous
statement. At that point, we are at a point of no return. You're right, sir.
Correct.
At that point, we are at the point of no return. Because
right.
And those, I think in the book I said that there's a certain percentage of people that is just going to be the answer. And what happens with them is they are willing to go down. And the truth of the matter is they do get it. But there's another part of our character that has nothing to do with fact, that is fact-based. It's a matter of winning or losing, right? And in order to not lose, I will die. In order to not lose, I'll keep my position, even if that position is untenable. And those are the people that we simply, and you know, where you talk about the excommunication, those are those. So I mean, I don't think you and I disagree on that. I think where we disagree maybe is how much leeway or how much leeway to give people, or how tolerant we are with those who disagree with us. Do you agree with that or not?
I agree. Well, I agree that both of us can reach a different set of tolerance for how much BS we can take. I agree with that.
That is
All
why
right,
you're my big brother.
So, but after, bottom line though, what I also want to say when I say burn the lifeboats is I'm saying that if something is proven not so, for
Yes.
example, say post this election that's coming up, and we're saying, you know, we know that the Republican Party is trying to dissuade people from voting. We know people are trying to not only dissuade, they're trying to destroy voting as a birthright for
Right.
Americans. So that in myself it is saying, hey, if you believe that, is that not counter to the American principle? You know, and then so therefore, if they believe that from then, and then after the election, they will say, no, I just didn't like the tweeting, but they still believe that core belief that Americans don't all have equal right to vote, then shoot, we have it's
Well, I think you answered the question.
that they've created.
I got to go, Norman, but I think you just answered the question. There are some people, and I think if you looked at one of the videos that we did here together on the screen a couple of things ago, where Katie Tur asked Michael Steele, do you think people are putting the word, Trump is 10% ahead on the economy for Americans. He has a 10% advantage over Biden, even though he knows nothing about economics and his economy sucks. And what Katie Tur came to the realization of, Michael Steele made her come to the realization herself, is that they used economy as a stand-in because they know the other position is untenable. I got to go, Norman.
Got it. Bye.
All right. Thank you for calling, sir.
Roberto. Good job.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, folks, let's go ahead now, and you know what? We're running out of time. So what I'm going to do is play our thing for the day, our interview for today. But before I go to the interview for today, while I have you online, I need to ask you, the folks, please go ahead. We're coming with the interview, but I need to ask you to support the program. And how do you support the program? You can support the program, first of all, by becoming a member, becoming a subscriber to our program. And how do you become a subscriber to our program? You visit us at politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That's politicsdoneright.com/PATREON. You can also provide support via PayPal. That is politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can also be a subscriber on Facebook, and that is politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. And lastly, you can shop at our store where you can buy our books or cups, the whole works, and that is politicsdoneright.com/store. Oh boy, let's see. Yes, I can do this for another 2 minutes. Okay, caller at 828. We got about 2 minutes only, but come on in. 828, you're on.
Senior Willie, how are you doing?
I am doing fine. Who am I speaking to?
This is Hope in North Carolina.
Hope, talk to me. Hope, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I hope you are, and thanks for doing a show about the convention. I actually didn't listen to the 46th President of the United States last night. I still have to go back and listen to that one, but I'll tell you who I'm really excited about.
Tell me.
Kamala Harris.
I figured you would say that. There is something I said, I bet she's going to say Kamala Harris. Now tell me why are you very happy with Kamala?
Well, I was kind of a Val Demings supporter because
Uh-huh.
I don't think you can get any smarter or any more courageous than Val Demings, and I'm really glad that she's in Florida doing the good work that she's doing. But you know, I just sort of, at the end of the day, am really excited that we're going to have someone in D.C. who's capable of arguing quickly before the Supreme Court and has that kind of a mind.
Well, that's a thought. That's the one thing about it. Kamala Harris is very smart. I think for as far as getting a lot of the progressive stuff out, of course, she's not the one who dictates policies, but I think all of us would do well to remember that that the election is just the beginning, and that what we want to make sure to do is push the policies that all of us support and not let up at all. Would you agree, or?
I would totally agree. And it's really important for us to do work on voting and support, wherever we can go out and knock on door and plead our case and be respectful of people. And because people are entitled to their opinions, but just be very respectful of one another. And, this thing with the post office really has scared the living daylights out of me, but hopefully it's all going to work out.
Yeah, I had something to play today on the post office and on Trump, but I'm running out of time because I have an interview that I need to play. And I think you're going to like this one, Hope, because this one concerns just something that you're talking, it includes something that you're talking about, which is the voting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, totally awesome. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you so kindly, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, now let's go ahead and get busy with our interview. There are some videos. I'll play the videos tomorrow. So let's go ahead and do that, do the interview right now. Welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Will is your host. I'm here with the one and only Delilah Agho-Otoghile. Delilah, tell me a little bit about you, because, I saw you at a meeting recently, and you took that meeting over. You were going to make sure that people in this damn county vote, something that the rest of America ought to see as well. First of all, tell us a little bit about you, and also let me know, did I say your name correctly?
Said it correctly. Thank you for asking, Umberto, and for having me. It's been a while since I've been on your show, so so much.
Yes.
But we were at that meeting together because I have love for Houston and Texas and want to make sure people are engaged and are voting. Right now, I'm working with a group called Win Justice, which is a collaboration between SEIU, Planned Color Change, and Community Change, running their national field program. And I also, Egberto, earlier this summer started a voter registration nonprofit here in Texas called Vote Simple, where we are investing in some paid digital ads to get folks to register to vote, kind of circumventing the lack of online voter registration in Texas. So that's what I have been up to.
So wait a minute, you formed a 501c3 to actually work on voting as well as a separate organization also?
Yes.
That is great. I mean, I didn't know that, so I want to hear a lot more about that before we get started.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is actually an idea I had late last year. I think the last time we spoke, I was working at Battleground, Texas, did a lot of voter registration there. Did a lot of voter registration in Florida in 2016 with Hillary's campaign. But here in Texas, the state is so big and we have such a huge gap in registering young people and registering voters of color. Despite all of our efforts to register people of color, our voter file, right, like the people who are registered in Texas is still over 70% white. And we estimate that there's roughly 4 million unregistered people of color in Texas who need a nudge registering them to vote. So what better way than to find those people online, whether they're like scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or whatever, if they see an ad prompting them to register. We're working with registervote.com so that when they click on our ad, they fill out the form. We then send that pre-filled out form to their house. They just have to sign it, drop it back in a postage paid envelope, and they get registered to vote. So also kind of removing some of the barriers. There's some process online through other groups where if you fill out a form, you have to print that form and mail that form back. And I don't know how many people have access access to a printer or even envelopes and stamps. I don't have envelopes and stamps in my house. So
Right.
we're just trying to make it easier, right? Because I think that the more accessible, I mean, from registering to vote, but even like voting, the more accessible all these things are, the easier they are, we'll have more people who are engaged and hopefully change the landscape.
Well, yeah, you know, Texas, they've always said the problem with us is we're a non-voting state. Now, your 501c3, is it specific to Texas or is it throughout the country?
Specific to Texas, we're starting with Texas now, care about Texas, want to see what we could do here.
Well, by the way, you give us a name again and tell people how they can get there so they can kind of help you guys out if necessary.
Yeah, it's Vote Simple is the name of the organization. So our website is www.votesimple.org. So you can register to vote there. You can also check your registration there, which I would encourage everyone to do before the deadline on October 5th, so that if you're planning to vote, that you make sure that your registration is active and accurate, and you won't have any problems when you go to the polls in November.
Well, that is very important, Delilah. I mean, it is, especially in a state like Texas, because I've been predicting that we are going blue this cycle. I'm not even waiting for 22 or waiting for 24. I'm saying we have the potential to do it now with young activists like yourselves out there doing all this stuff. I mean, I didn't even know I know that you were at HCDP doing your thing there, but I didn't know that you had this other thing going on. I am impressed.
It's been on me, Egberto.
I think it's great.
Years. I'm kidding. I'm glad. Thank you.
Anyhow, let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on millennials, and because I was doing some calculations, and if we get millennials and Gen Zs out, they overpower every particular group. Baby boomers, they overpower Gen Xers, they overpower every other group, that combination. I interviewed a young man a couple of days ago, a few weeks ago, but I played it yesterday, where he said, you know, the folks in my age range, the 23-year-olds, we have it that this is the one election you got to go out there and vote. And I was impressed because this is a young guy, and you know that's what he was saying. It's already instilled in them. Do you feel that, you being an expert, do you feel that out there, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think that more people are paying attention to politics now than ever before, and I think that that's probably the case across like all generation groups. I would say, I mean, we saw unprecedented increases in youth turnout in 2018. I think we've seen unprecedented increases in turnout in this past primary election, right? Both here in Texas in March, and then again in the runoff in July. And I think that a lot of young people like feel, you know, what's at stake, probably more so than others. I think that there are some young people who maybe feel uninspired, or maybe feel like their views aren't being represented, right? Or maybe feel like their vote doesn't matter. But I'm not sure that regardless of like those views, that they still won't show up to vote. I think they will show up to vote. And I think that they're eager to vote, right? Now that I think that, you know, they probably understand the power of their vote, and will make sure to exercise that right.
Well, there are two things here. We selected El Senor Biden, and we also selected Kamala Harris as the vice presidential candidate. Many of the young people, I think, may go under the pretext that they are not necessarily as progressive as they want. What is the selling message to young people tie in with the current Democratic ticket? I mean, young people suffer from school, what do you call school loan, school debt, and a lot of these other issues that we don't know, is the ticket necessarily progressive enough on those particular issues to make these kids want to, I'm calling them kids, sorry for that, for making these young adults want to go out there and, you know, not go to the bar, but go to, well, in coronavirus days, there's not much bars, right? But, you know, go out there and vote.
Yeah, I think, I mean, progressive, right? Like, I don't know if we want to necessarily argue where Biden and Harris like fall on the scale because, you know, they are candidates who are out of this primary season. But I think that when we are weighed with, you know, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, that people will make a decision. I think that I think a lot of young people care, like you were saying, about education. I think they care about financial security. They probably care about healthcare right now. I think a lot of them care about racial justice and, you know, this movement that we've seen happening over these last few months. And I think that there are only two candidates who like are on the right side of all of those issues, right? And maybe they don't agree with everything that a particular like voter cares about, but I think that they would fight, you know, for change in those issues more than our current president would. I would think that millennials are probably a little bit more interested in their actions, right? And your actions as a candidate's actions, and maybe more concerned about policy stances than like party. So maybe they don't feel a strong allegiance to the Democratic Party, but I would say that they also don't feel connected to the Republican Party, right? But they will end up voting for the candidate who is more authentic and aspirational and, you know, is encouraging them to get engaged, but it's also making them feel like they're being listened to because they are doing something about racial justice, or they, you know, actually have plans on how we could, you know, come out of this pandemic better than we are right now. So yeah, I think that they may not be as progressive than people wanted them to be. I am thrilled though that they are at the top of our ticket. I am thrilled that we have a Black woman who is our, you know, Democratic vice president nominee. And I think that young people will get out and support them.
Now, Delilah, you gave me the educated answer. Good thing. A very educated answer. My next question to you, especially since you're drumming up the vote now, is not most voters are not, and I'm not talking. This is not even a progressive, conservative kind of an issue. You went through a whole lot of very intelligent machinations to describe that. Look, you only to put it bluntly, your machination was you only have two choices. Are you going to take your? But in reality, they have three choices, and that is one is to stay home, and right, and
yeah,
there's another reality as well, and that is, are we as a as people that are really needing all these people out there to go vote for the Biden Harris ticket, which all of us support, no matter what our inclinations are. Are we doing the necessary actions? In other words, are we forming a message to tell them, not as eloquent manner in which you stated, but in a way that hits them so hard that makes them want to go out there and get that vote. I mean, and make that vote.
For sure.
Make it inconvenient.
Did you watch the convention at all?
Yes, I loved it. Actually, I loved the Obama speech, both of them. I actually loved Biden's speech, which I didn't expect to like at all. And I also loved, there's one other speech that I loved. I can't remember who it was. But I sat there and I'm like, that looked good. Unfortunately, a lot of folks didn't watch it.
Yes. Yeah. No, I hear you. I think that was what came across all of the speeches at convention, right? Which I think is the message voters need to, especially young voters, probably to, you know, propel them to the polls is this message of like unity and hope. And I think that it's like very clear, Egberto, that we need a leader, right? Like we're going through this racial justice movement. We are living through a pandemic, and we do not have anyone in government. We don't have anyone in leadership who I think that people feel like they can trust or feel like they can look to, right, for how we move forward from this. I would think that I actually really enjoyed Joe Biden's speech as well. I think he projected decency and expertise, and I think that he came across as presidential. And I think that the more people hear from him, right, like the broader his reach is, I would think that would move folks to go vote for him.
No,
I
I want to make a comment because in this respect, you know, listening to you as and what you're all about. I would like the young folk right now to hear the message that uh, go out there and vote for Biden and Harris, but do remember that it is all about you. You are the ones who are going to make legislation after he becomes president, and and he will listen to you while he won't listen while a Trump or whatever. I don't hear the message. What I hear is I am not. I am voting for Biden, the Biden Harris ticket, but you know I'm also a very progressive person, and but the message that I'm giving to the folks that follow me who are not necessarily very enthused with the ticket is to tell them, but you have to remain engaged, and we are going to we are going to fight as much as we are right now, and we are more likely to make headway with the ticket that we have. I
Yeah,
don't, I
definitely.
hear too much adoration and not enough action as far as this is a plan. This is step one is doing this. Step two is action after this.
I would agree. And I think that, yeah, I think that's important. I think it's important, though, to hold all elected officials and public officials accountable, right? Because I think if young people actually realize, you know, the issues we care about and who has control over affecting and impacting those issues, then it wouldn't just be about the presidential election every
Right.
4 years, right? Are we engaged with these down ballot races? Are we engaged with our countywide public officials, our congresswomen, our congressmen, you know, our state representatives and everyone else? So yeah, I would agree that that we need to make sure that they understand that they have some control in holding them accountable for their own agenda. But I also think that starts a little closer to home. And I would think that, you know, we have some great candidates running in Harris County and in Texas.
Oh yes.
Those candidates also inspire folks to get out to vote, right? So whether or not they really believe in, you know, flipping their state house seat or their congressional district, if they're going to vote for those candidates, then I'm sure they'll also be compelled to vote for Biden and Harris.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about social media, because I think right now things are very smooth. And I'm a sort of a social media fiend as well. And what I know is coming is the misinformation campaign. And the misinformation campaign is real. In other words, there's a whole lot of stuff that that's going to be going into the feed of our folks that's going to look pretty real for both Biden and Harris. What is, if not the party, what are organizations that you work with doing to counteract the message or even preempt the message? I would have liked to start seeing by now messages that say, be prepared to get a lot of misinformation in your box coming from the other side. Please get your, you know, I would like to see some preemption as opposed to defensive moves.
Yeah, for sure. I think misinformation is real. I think voter suppression is real. I think we saw elements of it across the country and, you know, this primary season. And I think that everyone from the party to different organizations are preempting, you know, our actions for how we deal with that this fall. But I think the message really has to be rooted in, you know, like positive messaging around all these issues. So we don't want to, like, for instance, when you encourage people to vote early, right? Because maybe there are long lines on election day. We don't tell people to vote early to avoid long lines. We tell people to vote early because that's the best way to support your candidate, right? Or if you vote early, like that's the best way, you know, to support the Democratic ticket or we root it in a positive message, as opposed to vote early because if you don't vote early, you might be standing in line.
Let me stop you a second. I want to stop you a second because I want some validation for that. You said rooted in a positive message. Let me push back a bit. Don't people sort of react more actively for when they're in fear? It's a question. I don't know.
Do people react? Say that one more time.
In other words, do people, in other words, how best to get you to the ballot? Fear or love?
No, I think it's love. I think it's love.
Okay.
I think that there are some people who can be motivated by fear. And honestly, Berto, I think that's more so like me and you. I think those are probably more of like the activists, the politicos of the world. But I think if we're talking about the majority of the electorate, if we scare them into doing something, I think they will not take that action.
Okay.
I think I would say there's probably been some studies that show that. I think that people need to aspire, right, to do something, or they need to feel inspired to take an action, as opposed to if I don't take this action, then it will lead to X, Y, and Z. So we need to be leading with the positive messaging, right? Like we don't tell people here in Texas that there are all these ways that our government has made registering to vote or voting difficult compared to everywhere else. Like we're one of the few states not sending out applications to every registered voter, but Democrats aren't telling people that, right? Like instead we're telling you how easy it is to vote by mail, or how easy it is to vote early now that it's been extended a week early. So yeah, I think we have to lead with
I guess I can see that if you take a level of stress off when it comes to voting. Don't say, oh, it's so difficult to vote. This is how you do it. I guess you're saying, I'm telling you how to do it, as opposed to saying it's difficult, so different hoops to get through it.
Yes, exactly. And I think back to your first question, we, to combat misinformation, we'll just make sure that there's lots of voter education happening, I think, across all mediums. So whether that's on social media, whether that's like through mail or radio or, TV ads or text or phone calls, I think anytime, a progressive organization, a Democratic candidate is interacting with a voter, they will make sure that voter has all the information they need to vote. So whether that's voting by mail or voting early or voting on election day, I think that we have to make sure that we are constantly educating folks about voting.
That is excellent. Now, here's the most difficult question, and I ask this one to absolutely everybody that I interview, and it goes as follows. What do you wish I had asked you that in my incompetence I did not ask you?
We didn't really talk about the local political landscape here. I think those are the two things I would say.
Well, let's go ahead and do that.
Let's go ahead. Where should we start? With the convention?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I shared some of my thoughts on the speeches. I thought that, for this to be an all virtual convention, though, it was great. I thought it was very well executed and produced. I just have concerns. I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, right? About how we bring in new people to like the party infrastructure, right? Or the party. And whether or not younger people, millennials, Gen Z feel like they are connected to the party, I don't really think that's the issue, but I do think that we have to, have this concerted effort to like break down structures and systems that I would say, Berto, are rooted in white supremacy and patriarchy that keep people from participating in the party. And I think that government is critical, right? If we want to move towards a more participatory democracy, that we have to make this more accessible. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about voting. Like we talk about making voting more accessible and making it easier for folks to vote so that we increase engagement levels. But I think we should do the same when we think about how we set up our party and our party infrastructure and our party leadership or anything else. Because if we need to break down some of these barriers. And I think that everything's kind of just been running the same way, and that hopefully there will be a day when, our party and especially our leadership is more reflective, I think, of the electorate.
Let me, before you talk about the local politics that you wanted to talk about, I think you hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head. I think we have been poor as Democrats in creating a deep bench I think that if you take a look at the leadership from Congress all the way down, that the average age is likely over 70 is a problem. I would have loved to see people like yourself, young millennials, getting up there and becoming leaders in the party. I think that is so important. And I think, like I used to tell all my Berniacs, don't complain. What you go out there and do is take over like you are doing.
There you go. Yes. And I love the Democratic Party. I'm a proud Democrat. But I think we have to, improve our party and work on some things.
Yeah, well, I think most of us here are Democrats, but again, that doesn't mean that you don't go ahead and fight for what's important. And what you just said is it's very important. Okay, tell me a little bit about the local landscape.
What What do you want to know about?
No, the local landscape. Let's go ahead and put that in the context of Harris County, which is a representative county for the entire country, actually. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that? In other words, we have I forgot the name of the congressperson that Kalkani or whatever that's doing.
Sri Kulkarni.
Sri, yeah, I've interviewed him several times as well, and
Shree's great. I think that's actually a great place to start. I think we have a lot of potential to elect young progressives of color. I mean, Shree, right, would be more representative of Fort Bend than Harris County, but Fort Bend's great. I grew up in Fort Bend, one of the most diverse counties in America. I also think we have folks like Christian Menifee running for county attorney, a young Black man, very progressive, who would control civil issues in the county. Just appointed Chris Hollins. We already have Judge Hidalgo. I think that people like Akila Basie really inspire me for change in Harris County as well. We have a lot of Democratic state reps in Houston, but I don't think that all of those state reps are necessarily the state reps that push for progressive change, during session in Austin. So I'm excited to see people like Akila running. I think that, she'll win. I would love to see what she puts forth next session. I would really love to see too, you didn't ask me this though, but I would love to see a representative, Egberto, kind of spearhead changing our election code in Texas, because it is archaic and it is, nothing is really clear. It's very gray. And I think it's led to a lot of issues we've had with local elections. Case in point, we still don't have a city council member in District B, right?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Council member, correct. In the blackest, one of the poorest districts in Houston. To say the blackest district going through a racial justice movement is unrepresented in city council, is insane. But unrepresented because of this election code that allowed a third place finisher to challenge the election in the first place, when maybe if our election code was a little more updated and a little more clear, we would have had this election on December 14th of last year and District B would be represented. So when I think about how, I don't know, and I think in this day and age, right, we're going through this modern day age for voting rights, but we cannot fight to protect voting rights if we have this election code that is so outdated and causes problems here. So,
Delilah Agho-Otoghile, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right. We got to make this a more frequent thing, because you are one of our rising stars, not only in the movement, but in the party. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was good. That was Delilah. She is great. She's out here and she's putting her actions where her mouth is. Folks, we're kind of coming down. I saw one discussion that I want to get into. I think it was with when Mike Ledo was bringing up the issue of homosexuality. If there's one good reason to check out my book, it's about my transition from being a homophobe to a person who realized how wrong I was and why I needed to change. It was a humbling experience, and I tell you something, folks. It makes for a better person when I don't even like to use the word tolerant when you realize that you don't have all the answers, or not only that, when you start trying to look at things through the eyes of others. Anyhow, I gave you all the links except the links for my book. Folks, if you have the wherewithal, go get my book. It's at, I just put the link up. It's at Amazon. You can also buy it at our store, politicsdoneright.com/store. But by the way, if you go ahead and become a member at politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, guess what? You can read all of my books. And remember, I have 2 more books coming out. I'm writing 2 at the same time. One about blogging, the other one about, well, you guys know the other one that should be out a long time ago, the Utopia book. I'm working on these guys, but man, it's hard doing all of this at the same time. But it's all for the cause. It's all for the cause. So please, folks, let us do this. Let's get out of here. Have a great weekend. I don't know if I'm going to come on and do a little quick stuff on the weekend. All right, Michael Rudnin, thank you for having been here. Oh, I didn't call out all my people. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Rose William, welcome aboard. Who else is here? Para ver. Daniel Ledo, welcome aboard. Brige, MCP, welcome aboard. Rachel Green, welcome aboard. Even though you think Dems are evil, I still love you, Rachel. Trust me, Dems are not evil, Rachel. They are not evil. Okay, what else is here? Oh, Brige, then you like the story that I told. I didn't know that. Mr. X, welcome aboard. Who else is here? Great show. Thank you, MCP. I love you. Thank you for liking the show. Let's say who else is here? Para ver. I'm going up this thing before we close out. Norman Reynolds. Norman called in with an intelligent conversation. If you listen to the conversation that Norman and I have, think about it. Everybody can have that kind of conversation, whether you agree with them 100% or not. Always can have a conversation. And that's what I talk about in my book, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. Who else is here? I want to call my people out. Bruce Davis, welcome aboard. Mike Sisek, welcome aboard. Both my conservatives and my liberals are here. My progressives are here. Daniel, I called you out already. Who else is here? Rose Williams, I think I called you out, Rose. If I miss you, forgive me. If I miss you, forgive me. Let's see who else is here. Because you guys left a ton of messages. And Miazi0444, welcome aboard. Fute Atab, welcome aboard. Who else? God, I don't like to miss anybody. CJD Bigado, welcome aboard. Okay, let's see. Wow, it's a lot of messages today. All right, let me go to the bottom of the queue now. All right. Anyhow, folks, you guys have a wonderful weekend. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel. And please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.